Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been nearly a whole month since I have filmed. I've moved house despite this room looking exactly the same. I'm in a different house in a different room and I've missed working. I know that's really strange, but I have missed working, so I'm so happy to be back and happy filming. So here's what I'm doing today. I was sorting out my makeup, moving it into this room, packing it up, moving it from one house to the other. And I was looking at some products and looking at some tools and I was like, these were so unnecessary and so at the time, people were like, I need it. And, and it just made me think and look back on techniques that are kind of had their moment. They're a bit outdated now. I'm sure some people still use them. There's a few that I still use as well. But I wanted to do a full face of techniques that are a little bit outdated. So let's do it. Just before getting to that today, if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life. And it's my goal to help you become a pro yourself or just someone who's really good at makeup. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then please do consider subscribing. Also, by the way, did you see my video with the actual Selena Gomez? We talked about her brand, Rare Beauty. I still can't believe it happened, but go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. It's cute. She's really, really cute. Okay, begin. So I'm going to start with eyes first. Actually, let me put down a base and then I'll be right with you. Okay, sorry about that. Eye primer on. Okay, so the first technique that's a little bit outdated, as I said, is one that I still do myself because I just really, really like it. And we're going to carve our eyebrows. Now, let me explain why I feel this is a little bit outdated. Again, I still do it, so no shame. No shame if anyone still does any of these techniques. I feel like it changes with brow trends, right? So at the moment we have this spiky brow, almost minimal brow, whereas the olden days of Instagram makeup, and we had the solid, really thick brows. I feel like it was better then because it almost accentuated the brow a little bit. The reason I still do it is because, honestly, because I don't sort out my eyebrows as often as I should. I kind of just let them do what they need to do. And it almost tidies up that whole area. And I think I would still do this on myself. Maybe on a client, depending on what their eyebrows are like, if I was doing a more dramatic look. But see how it makes it look like I threaded my eyebrows or plucked them or whatever. But like I said, with the current trend of a more fluffier brow, I feel like the perfect kind of sculpted brow isn't really necessary. I just like it. I just feel like it tidies everything up a little bit more. And I love a little tidy eye area. But let's be real, brow trends come back, every year? We get a different brow trend. So I'm sure sculpting and those thick blocked, almost tattoo-y looking brows are gonna come back at some point. Also, I have to say, everyone, please excuse, my fingers at the moment are so gross because I've been opening so many boxes. I got cuts everywhere from opening boxes. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, this might be a little bit controversial. I love a cut crease, right? And here's why I feel cut creases are a little bit outdated. And I mean the particular shape I'm gonna do. I feel and this is gonna be the reason for a lot of the techniques I feel are outdated, is because as people, not as just professional makeup artists, but anyone who does their makeup, with all the resources we have online, with how far makeup has come, people are better at doing their own makeup and more skilled technically than ever before. So it's we're learning and becoming better and better and better. And now we're in this whole kind of graphic liner kind of situation happening, and graphic looks. And, everyone's Euphoria makeup, but you guys have been doing Euphoria makeup for ages. You've been doing amazing looks. So I feel a cut crease had its moment and we were, oh, amazing cut crease. And it's still definitely a skill to kind of why am I saying skill? It's, Still definitely a really great technique to practice in terms of learning how to get eye looks symmetrical. I think it's still a really great skill to have. But I guess in terms of social media, perhaps it's a little bit outdated. So I'm going to do a cut crease right now. I love cut creases. I feel like I'm offending myself almost if I got concealer in my hair. Honestly, I haven't done anything for a month and I feel really out of my depth. I feel a little bit like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, so I'm going to use, I haven't unpacked all my palettes yet, so I had to go into my professional kit, which of course I sanitize and all that. And I'm going to use the Viseart palettes, a greeny purple. I have these bases from Revolution that I'm going to use, guys. I don't know what I'm talking about today. So I'll whiz through this cut crease look. If you do want to learn how to do a cut crease, because like I said, it's still an amazing thing to learn, I do have a video which is super in depth about cut creases, including like the angles that you hold your brush at and all this kind of stuff. It's really, really in depth. I'll leave that below for you. This is meant to be this color. It doesn't look anything like it. Anyway, okay, I just did some concealer. Let's talk about foundation. And here's something that we were seeing for a really long time. And you know what? I have to be honest. I get tagged in certain creators' videos. Not creators, like studios, like makeup studios. And there's people that do this next technique. And they really try to defend it. I have to say, as a professional makeup artist, before a YouTuber, before an influencer, it's unreasonable to do this. And I'm talking painting on foundation like this and then just tapping it into place. Now, professional makeup artists, you would know out there how terribly this is going to photograph, how awful it's going to be to keep touching up throughout the day because you're just not taking your time to blend it in. Your foundation is meant to be almost like part of your skin. It's meant to look like skin. It's not meant to be a mask. And you can get full coverage. It doesn't have to be done like this. And there's a certain salon that I get tagged in all the time. And they do this. And you can see them defending themselves for their lives and their comments. And it's like, no, it's unacceptable. I would never in a million years do this to someone's face. And I definitely think that this was a social media trend. A lot of trends that start on social media start because they look visually intriguing. Like you see a thumbnail or somebody with like foundation, too much foundation painted on their face. And you click on it because you want that interaction. You want that almost clickbaity attention, you know? Because, you know, that's how you get ahead on social media. You need the views. You need people to watch your videos. But then people do take the advice quite literally and think that maybe it's a good option for them, which, you know, it really isn't. And I do think, I have to be honest, I do think it's kind of lazy. I think if someone is paying you to do their makeup, you should take time to give them the best result and the best color combination. I do just think painting it on like that is careless and completely unnecessary. I actually didn't use as much. I should have done, but you know what I mean. There was one, I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it, a clip of it here, that was infamous and it went around forever and ever and ever and it was just, oh, it was the fucking worst. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let's do it right now, quickly, under the eyes. Another like extremely outdated thing. Here's what I think happened. At some point, right, people took makeup techniques and overdid them and that became the norm. So let's talk about color correcting, okay? And I'm gonna use orange because everyone just uses orange for everything. A good alternative to this is just a darker concealer. One or two shades, depending on how dark your under eyes are. You could just use that. If your skin tone is deeper, a reddy tone like this would be great mixed in with maybe a little bit of orange. Again, customizing that shade to your needs, not just one flat out color. That's why when these brands come out with these like color correcting concealers, I think great. But let's use them properly, you know? So if you did want to use this in a way that was like a little bit more realistic, you can just use the tiniest amounts in the area where you need that correction. For me, it's right up along that lash line. We don't want to completely cover. We want to slightly alter. We know how to use color to correct. but we need to get a little bit better on our application techniques. In my opinion, I just think we're smarter than that now. We've outgrown the like insane color corrector. Where's my sponge I was using here? But also as well, color correction is different in a lot of ways. I made a TikTok once and this girl used red over her whole face. And I was like, you know, red can cancel out green, but red can also block out certain bluey undertones, certain ones, and darker tones. Like for example, we would use red to cancel out my eyebrows because they are so dark. So it's blocking out the color. And everyone was like, red doesn't do that. I was like, no, red definitely, like, you know, it is a technique I've used before. Red definitely cancels out like darker areas. It's not necessarily color correction. It's more like blocking that color out. But I deleted it because everyone on TikTok thinks they know fucking everything. You got 12-year-olds on there telling like rocket scientists how to do their job. I'm not comparing makeup to rocket scientists, by the way. They just look the same, different amounts of products, but they look exactly the same. Okay, let's go to my enemy of the makeup world. The technique I despise. Baking. Now, don't get me wrong, using powder under the eyes, absolutely fine, the smallest amount. Baking was just the most insane, horrible thing ever. It looks great on camera, looks great under certain lightings, but the skin... Okay, so the skin under the eye is dry. We know this, right? Compared to our eyelids, which has more moisture. So we are drying out the skin under the eyes. You know when you dry something out that's already dry and it shrivels like a raisin? Creasing, that's where you get creasing. You need to hydrate under the eyes. But people go for this thing where, you know, powder sets. So surely putting loads of powder on under your eyes must work. What's happening? I hate this so much. I hate this so much. Why is it still? I don't want to do this. Oh, this is... Okay. Hate it. Oh, I can't breathe. But baking is most definitely making a comeback. Like, I've seen it loads on TikTok. People have been doing it. My eyelids are, the bottoms are creasing already. I just think, technically, it goes against... I'm gonna have to move. Oh, I forgot to do something before this. Whoopsie. Okay, so my under eyes feel all dry and horrible. Let me get rid of this. I fucking hate this so much. So baking is great for stage. Maybe certain kinds of photography. I personally wouldn't bake if I knew pictures were being taken because of how crusty and dusty it looks. Oh, I hate it so much. Feels horrible. It looks like shit. And look, you can literally see where it's like stained for skin. I really hate it. And it just takes away some product there. Oh, why am I orange suddenly? Just look at this. Oh, it's awful. Like, imagine it, like, it looks super, super smooth in certain areas, but where's my concealer gone? It like dries and shrivels up your concealer. I hate it. I really hate it. Creasy and dry and creasy. What the fuck has happened? What happened there? Let me tell you something. I know there are makeup artists out there who like bake under the eyes. I just wouldn't do it. I would just use powder. The visual effect lasts like 10 minutes. And then it just looks horrible for the rest of the evening. You know what? Moving on. I hate it. You get the point. Next, outdated technique is going to be lines on the face of product. Now, we all know now that we kind of need to work a little bit more on giving ourselves more of an individual, custom-made, you know, application when it comes to contour, bronzer, blusher. Maybe back in the day while people were still kind of learning how to do their makeup, it might have been a good starting point, a good guide almost, which is when we see that famous picture for lines all over the face from way back, that wasn't the makeup artist saying this is how you do this. That was a makeup artist saying this is the areas where I contour, this is where you apply lighter and darker colour. They weren't literally saying, you know, this is the way to do it. There's still powder in the air. Is that coming off my face? Now I'm going to have to blend this in for a while now because it's going to sit on top of a powder. Again, it was another thing that was kind of like visually like, oh my god, that's so crazy. But again, everyone out there is more intelligent now. They know exactly what to do with their makeup. They know that, you know, it needs to be a little bit more customized to their face. What's going on? What's going on here? We're here. I think that is probably the third time I've baked ever. I don't do it. I wouldn't do it. And if somebody asked me to do it, I'd be like, no, you can do it yourself. I'm not doing that. I'm just so against it. I'm like really against baking because I wouldn't want to do someone's makeup and then they go out into the world and then a few hours later, because I've baked, their skin looks like shit, you know? And then they'd be like, well, who did your makeup? And I'd be like, oh, Robert Welsh did. And it looks like this now. You know what I mean? Okay, let's finish up under the eyes. Look, I can't go on top of that powder with my eye makeup. Look where that powder's sat. Like, I can't put makeup on top of it now. And you know what? Sorry to keep going on about baking again, but that was another thing brands were doing. They were re-releasing like this nasty 90s shitty powder and calling it baking powder. I can't go on top of there with eye makeup. Look. You can see where the powder's sat. Can you see? Like here? I was going to take a nice picture of this. Now I can't. So I would actually fix that with a pencil that's a similar color, and then go on top with the eyeshadow. Oh yes, that's another one. Right, contouring again. Back to contouring. Another thing that I think is extremely outdated is the lines down the side of a nose like this. Again, because we all know how to like custom do our noses now, right? Like we know that two straight lines just aren't gonna cut it. Like we need a little bit more. Everywhere. Again, should have done this before baking, but here we are. Again, the shape of everyone's nose is different, so you don't need to do two lines. You can always do just like a little bit in the these areas here or underneath, or for me it would just be these like more bulbous bits here and then a little bit under the nose. You don't need to do like this full like two stripes down the nose. Yeah, okay, well, listen, I was going to put on lashes and I was going to do a lip and everything like that, but now I don't feel like it because it looks like shit. Those are some techniques I feel are slightly outdated when it comes to our makeup routines now, and I think that's thanks to people's skill level being vastly improved all the time, constantly, and also because social media trends just keep changing, which is great. Fine, let's keep going. Yes, I would love to know what you think below. Please don't be offended if you use any of these techniques. As I said, I still use two of them, so we like what we like, right? Thank you so much for joining me. Please do consider subscribing, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.